Today we're looking at Apple's hearing aid features using the AirPods Pro 2 and seeing how they compare to a prescription hearing aid. I'll walk you through how to set them up using an iPhone or iPad to access their hearing aid features, share some real ear measurement results and recordings of both devices in quiet and in noise, and I'll go through the practical bits like comfort, battery life, and where I think these over-the-counter devices fit in the spectrum of audiology and hearing care. The TGA officially approved Apple's hearing test and hearing aid features in December 2024, but the software update that allowed us to access those features in Australia didn't roll out until March 2025. To get it working, you need to make sure that you've got an iPhone or an iPad that's running iOS 18.1 or later, and a pair of AirPods Pro 2. The other models of AirPods do not support hearing aid features. When I switched on my devices and my mobile Bluetooth, I found the AirPods came up automatically with a prompt to connect. It walks you through a few setup options, and then you can run a built-in hearing test with the AirPods in your ears, or manually upload an audiogram from a hearing test you've already had. Once that's done, you can enable hearing aid mode, which adds extra volume for sounds in the range of your hearing loss. If you swipe down from the top right corner of your iPhone or iPad, you can access the menu for adjusting the sound, which includes switching the hearing aid mode on or off, adjusting the volume and level of ambient sound that you can hear, tweaks for sound balance, and also accessing additional features like Live Listen, which uses your iPhone or iPad as a remote microphone to listen over distance, and you can also access noise cancelling mode. The hearing aid features in AirPods are best suited for people with a mild up to moderate degree of hearing loss. Any greater degree of hearing loss is better served by a prescription hearing aid. Apple uses the NAL NL2 prescription as a reference for calculating how much extra volume you need for sounds in the range of your hearing loss. NAL NL2 is the most commonly used prescription by audiologists when fitting hearing aids, and it's designed to maximise speech audibility and understanding. When I ran my own real ear tests using the AirPods, I found the initial sound they delivered was quite conservative with the volume at 50, but when I turned the volume up to 95, they actually match prescriptive targets quite well. But the hearing aids are able to be fine-tuned much more precisely to the individual. Let's hear what this actually sounds like in a quiet environment. First, you'll hear the AirPods in transparency mode, where they're allowing in speech, but they're not giving any extra amplification. Then you'll hear the AirPods in hearing aid mode with the volume set at 95. And finally, you'll hear a prescription hearing aid, which has been fine-tuned to NL2 targets.
This is a speech clarity test. In quiet, listen for every word and the natural tone of my voice. This is a speech clarity test. In quiet, listen for every word and the natural tone of my voice. This is a speech clarity test. In quiet, listen for every word and the natural tone of my voice.
Now let's add in some background noise to test the noise reduction features of both devices. First, you'll hear the AirPods in hearing aid mode with their background noise features turned off. Then we're going to turn up that noise reduction slider, and we're going to turn on conversation boost to see how much better you can hear the speech compared to the background noise. Finally, we'll compare that to a prescription hearing aid in a speech and noise setting.
Now imagine you're in a busy cafe. Focus on how well you can still understand me, even with background noise. Clear speech matters in every situation. Now imagine you're in a busy cafe. Focus on how well you can still understand me, even with background noise. Clear speech matters in every situation. Now imagine you're in a busy cafe. Focus on how well you can still understand me, even with background noise. Clear speech matters in every situation.
With the AirPods, you can really hear the improvement in that speech from in front when you turn up the noise reduction and add in conversation boost. But you do have to do this manually. Compared to a prescription hearing aid, they will detect the types of sound in your environment and the direction that speech is coming from, and automatically adjust their directionality and noise reduction features to compensate. Now this brings us to the fit. The way a hearing device fits in your ear obviously influences how comfortable they are and how long you can tolerate wearing them. but it also influences the sound quality. If we look at the overall fit first, Apple AirPods are more obvious on the ear, which is fine in a lot of circumstances, but they may require some explanation if you're in a social setting. By comparison, most behind the ear hearing aids are a lot smaller and more discreet when worn on the ear. When we look at the ear tip, which sits in the ear canal, there are a couple of key differences. AirPods fully close off the ear canal. This optimizes the noise reduction features as everything you hear at the eardrum has been processed by the hearing device. It also gives you the option of using them as noise cancelling earbuds, which is honestly very effective, and I have a sample of that audio to play for you now. On the flip side, the low frequency boost that's caused by closing off the whole ear canal can make the sound a little bit less natural, especially for your own voice, and it can lead to the buildup of heat and moisture in your ear canal if you're wearing them for too long. With hearing aids, we have a lot more control over the fitting of the earpiece in your ear canal to find the right balance between acoustics and amplification. For people with normal or near normal hearing at some frequencies, we can use an open style fitting, which allows the natural flow of sound and air into the ear canal, allowing us to make the most of your natural hearing, keep things comfortable, and add speech highlights where they're needed. For people with greater degrees of hearing loss, we can close up that ear mold to hold the sound in more effectively, but even then it would be really unusual to fit an ear mold with no ventilation, as they are designed for full-time wear. Battery life is another big difference, with AirPods needing to be recharged after about 4 to 6 hours of use, and hearing aids lasting all day with 16 plus hours of full-time use. Now, where do I think AirPods fit in the spectrum of audiology and hearing care? I have actually recommended AirPods to a few of my clients who have come to me with difficulty hearing in background noise, but when I tested them, their hearing thresholds were normal or near normal, and they weren't really ready for hearing aids. I've also recommended them as a really great budget introductory device for people who want to get a feel for whether hearing aids are going to help them, but they're not quite ready to take the step to get professionally fitted hearing aids. I can also see the benefit for someone with a mild to moderate fluctuating hearing loss, because they can use the hearing test feature to adjust them as often as they need to without having to see a clinician. There's also good application for people with normal or near normal hearing that have bothersome tinnitus and want to use tinnitus masking sounds without losing situational awareness, and also for people with hyperacusis and loudness discomfort who want to control their overall level of sound while maintaining transparency for conversation. Ultimately though, if you have an aidable hearing loss and you require a device that you can wear all day, that's discreet, comfortable, and adjusts to your environment in real time, then prescription hearing aids fitted by an audiologist that follows industry best practice guidelines is the gold standard. If you have used the hearing aid features in your AirPods, I'd really love to hear your experiences in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see some more real hearing aid demos.